Evening, everyone. I'll call to order the meeting of the Board of Public Works for Monday, October 31st. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the October 17th, 2022 Board of Public Works meeting. Motion by Mr. Fires, second. The other Mike. Any comments or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments tonight? Citizen comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4, construction updates presented by Chris Hawley, Street Superintendent, and Tom Turchi, City Engineer. Chris?
Happy Halloween, everybody. Just to let you guys know that we closed down 5th Street tonight at about 4 o'clock. It'll be closed down until after 8 o'clock. Just let the public know to be careful up in that area. Things are starting to fall into place with American Asphalt. They are actually going to be in town tomorrow to start paving. They'll pave 17th tomorrow on Prospect Wayside. They actually got the tack down this afternoon. From there, the streets that we have left that just need the finish coat is Grant, Franklin, and Cedar. That'll be done as one project basically, as long as in that area. Hinman and Daggy will go as they'll do Hinman and Daggy. I'm not sure which order. And we have Arlington left to do, and then Chapel. So the ditch streets, once the finish coat gets put on, we'll shoulder them and get black dirt, and we'll dormant hydro seed those ditch streets that are left. Other work that's being done right now, waiting for American Asphalt to come in. We've done several concrete patches and miscellaneous catch basins. So the concrete crew's been really busy the last couple of weeks. We've had the patching truck out pretty steady last couple of weeks. And we're starting to set up our trucks. We've got most of our salters all set up, calibrating right now, getting the salter trucks ready, hauling road base for next year already, get that done before we put the wings on the trucks. And if you guys haven't noticed, Quick Trip actually broke ground today. They're stripping the topsoil at the corner of Veterans and McMillan. So that was one of our secondary snow yards that we used when we couldn't get into the up by the cemetery. So we're looking for another complementary type snow yard right now as we speak to use when we can't get it when they close down McMillan and Vets for the Quick Trip project. But other than that, hopefully in 2 weeks I'll have a construction wrap up of the season. So we're hoping we have good. Weather looks really good this week, so hopefully we'll get all the pavement down and we'll finish up with the shouldering and topsoiling. And with that, I will take any questions.
Any questions? Thanks, Chris. Tom?
All right, well, Chris stole my thunder on the 17th Street project. That's getting paved tomorrow, the parking lot in the main line. And then that only needs railings and pavement markings, and that project is complete. The stormwater master plan that's been in progress for the last couple of years, the draft has been of the existing conditions and information has been sent to the DNR. And the water utility is working on lead line replacement on Cedar Avenue from 8th Street to 10th Street. And a special project, the EV chargers that we talked about in the past. The first one is installed and is functioning at Wildwood Park. And we do have to do some modifications to it. I guess one of the charging heads doesn't work, so we're already getting repairs sent to us from Canada. So, but that's basically the big stuff from our department. If there's any questions.
Any questions for Tom? Okay, thanks, Tom. Item 5, approval of engineering services task order with Strand Associations for preliminary design of phosphorus removal facilities at the wastewater treatment plant. Presented by Dan Connect, Director of Public Works.
Thank you. You've heard us talk about the need for phosphorus compliance, both on the wastewater side and on stormwater. And now it's starting to get real. We've got this facilities plan that's been underway this fall. Strand Associates was selected to do this work and have been working on updating that plan. And of course, the primary focus on that facilities plan is on how we're going to meet the upcoming phosphorus standards. Our current permit requires a phosphorus compliance date of September 30th of 2025. just short of 2 years from now. With that, we would be targeting substantial completion of these improvements for June of 2025, which would allow us time for startup and testing. High-level cost estimate for these proposed improvements is 12 to 14 million. It's a big number. We've known that it's going to be coming, and have been planning for it in our utility budgeting. The method of phosphorus removal is going to be a filtration system on the plant site, and I'll show you about where that will be located here in just a minute. This facilities plan also includes a review of possible disinfection, which might become a future requirement, and then a review of how we're handling our biosolids processing. Not that these would be necessarily built at the same time as the phosphorus improvements are, but if there are some overlap and things that would make sense to put in place now, we may have some components that could be logical to put together with the phosphorus improvements. So this facilities plan is targeted for completion in February of next year, and we'd have a presentation to the Board of Public Works at that time. So recognizing that our compliance date is less than 2 years away, it's necessary for us to begin some preliminary engineering on the phosphorus improvements. The task order that is included in your agenda packet was prepared by Strand to get us started on this. It would look at things like hydraulic analysis. Will we need additional pumping to make this work? Process descriptions, building location and size, structure type, how it would lay out on the site plan or site layout and so forth, as well as a better cost estimate once we fine tune a little bit more what these improvements will actually be. So what I wanted to show you just on this is just the aerial photograph of the site, and you can see there's a lot of open area here. The site was laid out well when it was first designed to have room for future process improvements and additions. The conceptual look at how filtration might look after it leaves the clarifier and come through a filtration building, and then whether there's additional pumping needed to get it back out to the discharge, and then maybe some changes to the effluent flume as it leaves the plant. But essentially, this is what we need some preliminary engineering on is to go from blue boxes on the map to what does this actually look like, how much space does it take up, and what will it cost. So the schedule calls for this preliminary design to be completed in April of 2023, and then we'd move right into final design and bidding from April through December of 2023. Normally, construction of this type would be about a year-long project, but we all know how delivery times are and uncertainty with lead times, so we want to target more than that with this project, so we're targeting early 2024 to award bids for construction. The estimated cost for this work, this preliminary design is $152,000, and we do have it included in our 20 budget. Once this work is, the preliminary work is done, then we would anticipate follow-up task order, jump into the final design early next year. So tonight, the recommendation is to approve this task order with Strand Associates for preliminary engineering for the phosphorus removal improvements at the wastewater treatment plant. If you have technical questions, Mark might be able to answer those. If not, I'd take the other.
I'm just glad you pointed out that those blue boxes are the actual size of the buildings. I was thinking, you don't get much for $14 million anymore.
Yeah.
Mike?
Oh, yeah, fall of 25.
Mike? Any other questions? Okay, then I'll look for a motion to recommend approval of task order 22-04 with Strand Associates. Matt. Motion by Mr. Fire, second by Mr. O'Reilly. Any further comment? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item 6 is approval of a revised engineering division fees schedule presented by Tom Turchie, city engineer.
All right, each year we take and look at the fees charged for various services provided in the engineering division. We try to recoup a good portion of these fees. And the following fees are charged in the engineering division. We are proposing only a few changes to these fees this year. The first one being utility, construction, excavation, and public rights-of-way permits. So at a single location where, let's take, for example, a gas company wants to put in a new service, that would be a single location. We've upped the fee from $55 plus actual cost, which is an increase of 10%. And in a location where maybe they're doing an entire block or a series of blocks, we would see a $110 fee plus actual cost, which is also an increase of 10%. The other fee that we talked about, which we are adding to our table, is the EV charging electric vehicle fee, which is $4.50 per hour, which is new for 2022. Therefore, I would recommend the engineering division fees be approved as noted in the enclosed table. Are there any questions?
Mr. Fire, so moved? Okay, Mike?
What we try to do is we try to recruit but not make money on these types of things. It's getting closer, but we didn't want to take and make it so absorbent that it would make it difficult to administer or for other companies to do it. So I would anticipate we'll probably see a few years, something like this with these types of fees. At the Board of Public Works, we came up with the meter charge, the electric utility rate, maintenance fees, and warranty or insurance fees with the, it's warranties fees with, for the chargers themselves. And there was a chart that we actually put together that came up with that. I worked with the electric utility. And if we see a lot of use of these chargers, we would reduce that fee per hour use. And there's a possibility that in the next year or so, they may change it so that we can actually charge for electricity versus the time that you're plugged in. So I could foresee that changing. At this point, we set this, we didn't want to be exorbitant with it, but we did also want to try to keep and recoup our costs for that. Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend approval of the engineering division fees. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Item 7 is recommended items for future agenda. Seeing none, we'll adjourn.